He went to the High Court in the year 2022. I was not Deputy President. I made my witness statement before I became Deputy President. I supplied all documents before I became Deputy President. I did not file any evidence as Deputy President. And the matter was concluded, and the High Court issued a judgment. We'll give you the judgment that the land belongs to Amanyoro Investments Limited. I am told that they have appealed the judgment. I invite the Honorable Mutuse to apply to be co-joined in the appeal, and then he can argue his case. This is a matter that has been adjudicated by the High Court of Kenya and made a determination. And you want to bring it to the National Assembly. The matter is alive with the Court of Appeal. It is sub judice to even discuss it in Parliament because a determination has been made. Irregular procurement of mosquito nets at a cost of 3.7 billion. I saw a huge headline from the Star newspaper, planted headline. This is the most ridiculous headline I've ever seen. And this is the most I lack a proper one, and I don't want to speak in Kikuyu. I think somebody needs to give me some water. What I want, I'm looking for. I have seen that allegation. I want to respond as follows. One, there is Andrew Mulwa. He has sworn an affidavit with the false allegations. And he had better be very careful. Because he has made a statement on oath. In the affidavit, he says that Deputy President was involved in KEMSA 3.7 billion irregular procurement of malaria nets, either directly or through proxies. Further, Shobika Impex Limited is an international company, the fourth largest manufacturer of mosquito nets in the world. It has done many tenders with KEMSA, with the Global Fund, countries in Africa, in Asia. And there was a tender. There was a tender funded by Global Fund through KEMSA, and it was an international tender for manufacturers. The company owned by my son Cristo Kenya Limited are not manufacturers, and they did not participate in any way in the tender, in any way. What happened is that in the year 2014, 8 years before I became Deputy President, Shobika Impex Limited appointed Cristo Kenya as their local agent, whose work is to do their errands and follow their supplies at the ports of entry. Cristo Kenya did not participate in this tender. It was done by Shobika. KEMSA wrote to Shobika and said, your tender was not successful because you had a problem with pagination of your security documents. Pagination. Those of you who have done tenders, you number the pages. And if they are not right, you can be disqualified. And therefore, they were told, can you come and collect your bid board, your original bid board? That's what happens. If you participate in a tender and you don't win, you are asked to collect your bid board. And they kept on coming to collect the bid board. It was not available for almost 3 months. And they asked the local agent, that is Crystal Kenya Limited, can you follow up on our behalf? We participated in this tender. We did not win. We have a letter asking us to collect the bid board. We are waiting for it because this is money that is tied as our agent in Kenya. Can you follow up? And that is why when my son, on behalf of Crystal Kenya Limited, went to KEMSA trying to follow up. And when it was not working, he brought it to my attention and I made a call to Mr. Andrew Mulwa, asking, my son has been here. There's a little issue about a bid board of an unsuccessful tenderer. Why is it that this is money that is tied? And these are foreigners, these are foreign investors. We don't want to make life difficult for them. Please, why don't you release it to it unless there's a problem? Oh, he said, no, the matter is under investigation. That is why we cannot release it. The bid board is with the SEC. I said, fine. If the matter is under investigation, so be it. Right along, the investigations were over. EACC wrote to KEMSA and returned the bid board. KEMSA in return wrote to Shobika and returned the bid board. End of story. Shobika did not win the tender. They were not awarded the contract to supply the nets. No nets were supplied by Shobika. No public funds were lost. And we are told by Deputy President asking why a bid board to a tenderer who has failed to win cannot be returned. He endangered the lives of the people of Kenya. That is how absurd the allegation is. There is no evidence that the company with my son participated in the tender. They did not participate. There is no evidence that the Deputy President interfered with the tender. The only crime is that urging so that we don't frustrate foreign investors. If they were not successful, why are you keeping their tender security? You need to give it to them. And it was a lot of money. I think it was 500 million or something like that. So I want to say these are very ridiculous, and I take great exception to the headline by the Star. Please, we'll give you the documents. Tell us, where was the Deputy President involved in a tender? This is a tender that never was. And for the record, to show that this tender had no problem, after the investigations, during the investigations, the CEO, Terry Ramathani, was suspended to allow investigations, as it should be. And Mulwa became the CEO. Mulwa was not there during the tendering. He came after the tender had been annulled. And he was dealing with the aftermath of the annulment of the tender, that is returning the bid boards, sending document to ACC. After investigations by ACC and the Senate were concluded, Terry Ramadhani was appointed by President William Ruto as the Deputy High Commissioner to India. That tells you, because when those appointments are made, the head of public service writes to ACC, DCI on issues of integrity. Terry was cleared, which means there was no scandal. And again, and most important, no public funds were lost, no nets were supplied. Therefore, this is another fishing expedition to just justify the 5.2 billion. I think that is why they were putting the 3.7 billion to make the maths to add up. You know, when you want to talk big figures, you must look for 3.7, 600, and all that. Even all these things I've read here, if you take your phones, we are nowhere even, we have not reached 2 billion. Because Olive Garden, 400 million. Queensgate Apartment, 600 million. Outspan and Treetop, 600. So these are just figures that were being put to the people of Kenya so that they can see us into bad light. Unnecessary and expensive renovation at the official residence in Karen and Mombasa. How Mutusen knew it's unnecessary, I don't know. He has never been here. You guys were here before. When President William Ruto was deputy president, he was denied funds for 5 years. This place was in very high state of disrepair. It took me 7 months to move in. The roofs were leaking, the toilets were blocked, the septic tanks was broken down, the borehole was broken, there was nothing. Parliament, in its own wisdom, allocated funds for the renovation of this residence. As a deputy president, I have nothing to do with public expenditure. In fact, at that time, the accounting officer, between 2022 and 2023 financial year, was the State House Controller. Procurement was done, tender was awarded, and the renovations were done. As you can